Hello, people. Andrew here, talking about comics from a reader, collector, speculator, investor point of view, in that order of importance to myself. Today I'm looking at some purchases I made at my local comic book store. They're having a deal at the time where you could trade in a bunch of used trade paperbacks for store credit. So I decided that, in 2021 I bought a large collection called the White Collection. More information on that on the video called The Sixth Gun. Anyways, included in that collection was about 300 trade paperbacks. 100 of them I wanted to keep, 100 I'm still undecided upon, and 100 I could part with easily. So I took those 100 up to there and I said, "Well, go through that and tell me what you think and give me a price." And he went through it and said, "Well, some of the stuff is good. All of it was in good condition. But a lot of it's older and it's very niche, and some of the stuff I haven't even heard of," he says to me. But I'm willing to take these 70 for about $200 in credit. And I thought, that's great because I don't want these books, and a $200 credit is great. I originally was thinking I'd just turn that over into a single book worth about that much money. But of course, while he's going through the trade paperbacks, I'm going through the $2 bins and some of the back issue bins and whatever, and I pilled out enough stuff to pretty much make that $200 mark. If we add in a handful of new books and also some bags and boards. So this is what I ended up for that credit. And as I say, I'm happy with it because these were books that I trade paperbacks I didn't want. So anyways, this is the one issue I found in the back issue bin that was more than $2, and this is the issue number 7 of Worlds Unknown. Worlds Unknown was a 70 series that only ran for 8 issues, and I'm just a couple shy of completing that. But this one has the Golden Voyage of Sinbad Part 1. Number 8 is Part 2. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the film The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, but if you get a chance, you should check it out because it's a great Sunday matinee adventure type film with wonderful stomp animation by Ray Harryhausen. So it is a great adventure epic. This is just, as I say, this is just the adaptation of that particular storyline. So I'm not sure what they were trying to do with Worlds Unknown. It only ran for 8 issues, and it seemed to be all over the place as to what they're going to do. Once I get a chance to read all 8, I'll see if there's any kind of consistency to it. But here we go, number 7. These were the new books that I bought, and I buy these new books because, even the 4 books that I got here is probably about $20 worth of value, and it's just, I'm not necessarily crazy about these particular runs at the moment, but I'm trying to keep these 4 collections. Ultimately, I'd like to complete all 4 of these collections, like every book that's involved in them. But I don't want to lose ground by passing by. Now, some of this stuff I have seen come up in the $2 bin, but then it's just by happenstance. This way I keep the runs alive. So I have Daredevil number 25. It wasn't a bad run. Some people have, mixed feelings about it. I thought it wasn't a bad run. Fantastic Four by Ryan North. This is still under the One World Under Doom. I haven't read the latest stuff, but I have read all the way up to issue number 33 of his previous run. So keep that alive. Moon Knight, I haven't been, again, particularly crazy about this iteration of Moon Knight. I preferred him when he was sort of a street level guy in the very early ages of the 70s and the 80s. And I know there's been changes done to him, so it's fine. Doctor Strange has actually been a lot of fun. I'm just unfortunately they've canceled so many times. It only runs for 10 issues and they cancel it, and then it's 4 issues here. And the last one was Doctor Strange of Asgard, which ran for I think just 5 issues. I don't know if there's another one, and I guess they felt that, well, we're up to issue number 450, let's make one. And then we get into all of this stuff that I found in the $2 bin. And again, it's just completing holes of collections that I've been working on, and that's all I have to say about that. Nothing spectacular here. No big keys. Just stuff that fills up when I'm working on. So we got a Green Arrow, and this was an interesting run by Kevin Smith. The reboot after his original series from 1988 came to an end at issue 137. So this is part of that earlier run. I'm still working on the original 137 run, but finding other stuff is fine too. There we go. And still part of that that particular run. And then, of course, it goes on. This is still part of that same run, and I need more issues for it. But again, filling in some of the holes. I liked some of these covers, and I actually liked what it did beyond Kevin Smith's run on it as well. So I'm interested to see where this goes. You know, I heard a lot about Ice Cream Man and about stories being told. You know, it's very expensive to get the first issue and graded, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's apparently a little bit of a horror type of story. And here I got issue number 6. So let's check that one out. Chances of me owning a giant size X-Men aren't that great. It's a book that's and it's an expensive book. I am interested because it does have the first appearance of Storm, Nightcrawler, and Colossus. But I'll read the reprint for now. I managed to get some older Batman, not that old. This one's not actually, when I got it back home, I realized that it had some water damage and it's a little wrinkly. So it's more of a placeholder, but I'll take it. I got some Batmans from the 500s, which is nice because there's a lot of Kelly Jones artwork in here, and it's written by Doug Mensch, and I like Doug Mensch's material for the most part, and that looks like it's Killer Croc. I say these characters, but sometimes once you get inside the book, well, that's not Killer Croc at all. That's somebody else. But it definitely looks like Killer Croc. And as I said, I love all this Kelly Jones stuff. Like, I mean, that's a great cover. And, you know, you're going to get a story involved with Batman and the Scarecrow. I love how the ears are elongated and the whole cape sort of drifts out like that. Great cover. I really liked what Kelly Jones had did with the covers and his artwork. And then I got some of the newer material, newer to me anyways. I mean, it's from, last 5-10 years. Anyways, this is issue number 100, and you can't see that, but I mean, there's a price tag on it of $7.99 American, which means that up here in Canada I'd be spending like $10 for that. So picking up issue number 100 for $2 sounds like a pretty good deal. And then I'm still just sort of working within that sort of range as well, picking up all this stuff, all these nice covers too. So a couple of later issues of Batman with the kind of a variant cover. Again, the price on that one says $5.99. It's crazy talk, man, crazy. Still working on the Journey into Mystery. Actually, there's a lot of things I liked about this whole run with the Journey into Mystery, where Loki was a kid, and then there was the stories with Sif, and before all this, in the 500s, there were the story of the Lost Gods, and then it had a short brief thing where it talked about Shang-Chi. Okay, whatever. But it has proved to be interesting. I really liked it, and I'm looking forward to once it's all put together, I'm going to reread the whole thing. Kazar the Savage. I used to always pronounce it as Kazar, but it's Kazar is the official pronunciation of that. This run, the Kazar stuff, it's more so because I collect Shanna the She-Devil, and she's in every one of these particular issues. So this is to shore up that, because again, much like Moon Knight, where I'm trying to get all of Moon Knight's appearances, I'm trying to get all of Shanna's appearances, and so that's why I have some of these Kazar books. Alright, I got 3 bundles here. This was just bundle number 1. And bundle number 2. Okay, always in the mood for a Punisher book. And this one is from, 2022? I think that's when it's from. And it's like there's a 12-issue series, and it's like, okay, sure, I'll buy this. And I got, the first 6 issues of this one, I think. So I'm not sure. It's written, looks like it's written by Jason Aaron. To me, that's a hit and miss sort of thing with Jason Aaron. I liked what he did with some of his Thor material, but I wasn't so crazy about what he did with his Avengers material. So I don't know where this one's going to go. But, as I said, I do like a good Punisher story, so I will read this one. And getting the first 6 was pretty good. You'll get an idea, a definite idea of where we're going with this storyline, and I'll be buying it anyways, just because it is Punisher. Slowly working on the Power Man and Iron Fist and the Luke Cage Hero for Hire. getting bits and pieces whenever I can find it. This just happened to be there, issue number 90. Same thing with Avengers. I have a lot of Avengers material. I've been going through that. But I don't have all of the annuals. I think this is one of the few that I was missing from the 70s, 80s, 90s, well, probably the 80s, 90s type of thing. Again, more Avengers stuff. This is the variant for West Coast Avengers. It was a 10-issue series. I liked the cover on that. Not so much the West Coast Avengers, but we'll see where we're going with that one. And then, once again, filling in a lot of Captain America holes. Well, that sounds weird, but the Captain America book has a lot of series running through it. Still getting some of the stuff from the 300s. Again, at $2. This one's special, triple size 50th anniversary issue. Why not? And this would have been from the 3rd volume, because the 2nd volume was the Heroes Reborn material. So this is from the 3rd one with Mark Waid writing it, and the annual, one of the annuals that came along with that particular series. And then we bump into who wrote this one? Oh, Brubaker. But this is I think before he got into the premium stuff here, which is coming up here. And this is to do with the Winter Soldier. Had a lot to do with this particular run of the Captain America books, and so getting all of these was nice. That particular run is getting closer to being closed. Actually, no, I gotta take a look at it. This would have been after this series. So yeah, so this was a good series. I don't know if you've read this particular stretch of the Brubaker run, but it is good. I have read bits and pieces of it, stringing it all together, but I found it to be a very, very good read. I don't think I'm alone in that thought either. So it was nice to get a number of these books that were part of that particular run. And all at, $2 a pop, which was fine. I know I didn't spend that because I got the trade paperback for it, but still. So yeah, you can see that there's a lot of Captain America material picked up through this particular deal. And finally, I got another Doctor Strange book as well, The Death of Doctor Strange. And again, this was a 5-part miniseries plus about, I don't know, half a dozen spin-off books for it. And this is just issue 4. Still need 3 for that one. So that's what I mean. I stopped buying comic books for, 15 years or so, something like that. So a lot of these titles, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, they all developed and had stories, etc., and I missed out on all that. Finding that material isn't as easy as maybe once was, when you could actually, you go to a back issue bin of Doctor Strange, and there's not going to be, like, most of the stuff is either from the silver with the Strange Tales, or the bronze with his original series, or even the copper with his Sorcerer Supreme. But then beyond that, it's not well stocked for every issue. You hunt and find them places, and a lot of the times you find them in the $2 bin. So this is a series going on right now, One World Under Doom. Again, I haven't read the series. I figure it would cost me about, if I was buying these books brand new, it would be like $100 to get the entire thing, because there's like an 8 or 9 issue series called One World Under Doom. There's 5 issues to this Doom's Division. There's 5 issues to Doom Academy. There's, I think, 8 or 9 issue to One World Under Doom Gods. So all of those books combined would be like, well over $100. But finding them in the $2 bin just to check them out, yeah, okay, sign me up for that. So I'm going to read this stuff and see how this relates to the old One World Under Doom. As I say, at a much more reduced rate. So this, as I say, Gods was, apparently there's a whole mini-series called Gods that runs about One World Under Doom Gods for 8 or 9 issues, and then there's this one, Standoff, as well. Always looking for Tomb of Dracula stuff. This is from somewhere in the 2000s, maybe 1998, I'm not sure, but it's not part of the original run, but later on. And this is what I mean about finding some of the Daredevil stuff from the past 10-15 years, and it's just hunting it. I just happened to come across issue number 12. I am a fan of Godzilla, so I don't expect much of this, but the fact that I like Godzilla and I found these relatively new books in there for only a couple of bucks. Yeah, okay, sign me up for that too. So I got Godzilla vs. Thor, Godzilla vs. the Avengers, and these are Marvel books. And then it looks like, you know, somewhere in here I think I got a Godzilla vs. Boston. I don't know if it's here or not. Again, still working on the Thor. This I thought was a more recent. It's not. It's like from 2016 or something like that. But again, some of that Jane Foster era of Thor, which I enjoyed the little bits that I've read so far. So I will be building this particular collection up as well. And then very happy to get some Wonder Woman material. This is from the 200s. I'm working on this particular series from the 80s. There's a lot of good stuff in here. You got John Bolton covers, you get Adam Hughes covers, you get some Dynamite stories, you get George Perez doing the first, 40 to 50 issues or whatever. It's been a pretty good series, and I like Greg Rucka's material, and he's writing this material, so having managed to pick up a number of these books, that was good. I really like that. So number of Wonder Woman here, which was as I say, was a happy thing for me to get some Wonder Woman in this particular series. Yeah, I'm not sure who the artist was on the interiors or on the covers. And then and then when she did the Rebirth, it's still hunting for newer material, and again this one's relatively new too. Sort of working on Iron Man, sort of. I mean, I'll pick it up. This is a Matt Fraction run of Iron Man, which wasn't bad. I got to piece it all together to really get a feel for what this story is like. Iron Man's not my favorite of all the Marvel big characters, but I've been finding more of his stuff at a lower price, and so I've been filling in this run just because of that. It hasn't been bad. Some of it's good and bad. This was a surprise. I didn't expect to see this here. Alan Moore's Miracle Man, issue number 2. So finding that was kind of nice. And then finally, just one more final issue that I picked up, which was The Thing. Working on completing that, but I'm in no hurry to do so. This one, I think, was to balance it up to 75 books. So I needed this to make the 75th book. I said, yeah, okay, I'll take that. And that's what I got. Pretty good deal. I'm happy with it. I was considering, maybe trying to get a single issue just to replace not to replace, but for the value of the trade paperbacks. And I did look at an Amazing Spider-Man 22, the first appearance of Princess Python, which was selling for about $175, so it would have been a nice little trade plus some extras. However, I found that the colors had faded on the right side of the book, and the stapling at the original, when it was originally stapled, was a little off. It was probably about half a centimeter to 3/4 of a centimeter away from the spine. So some of the latter half of the book was stapled, as I say, a little bit away from the spine. So the stapling was off. And for those reasons alone, I didn't buy a singular book, that particular one. And as I say, hunting through all this stuff, I'm happy with what I got. Anyways, that's what I got for today, people. Thanks for listening. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and we'll talk again soon.